Hey everyone, this is Jamie. Um, I know I talk a lot about my stance on feminism and everything, and in this day we've got pretty much everyone just waiting for what is it, Nevada to count their votes, and I kind of wanted to raise awareness that a lot of people seem to forget that regardless of who you vote for, you can still be transphobic, actually. And you can still be a shady person. So, I kind of had a fight over the past few days, and in general, I started questioning my own political stance and things. And it's really interesting to try to put yourself into um, a label for the whole world of politics, which is something people tend to do. And I did have an interesting discussion where I was asked whether I believed in communist ideology, and then I actually went and started analyzing. And yeah, anyway, and the more I talk to people, the more I see that, which is really interesting because I've had not very close friends, but friends who have discussed politics with or trans issues, and pretty much communists are always the most open ones from my experience, and it's really interesting because it's specifically like European or American. Obviously, if you go into Latin America, you have a sort of different sort of side of communism, you know. So it's not as black and white, like I was saying. And anyway, what is making me do this video was the fact that I think I've spoken very openly about my stance on feminism, which is I do not identify as one. I identify as a queer theorist, and if you want to label me as any sort of feminist, sure, put me in the Marxist feminist box. Because I do not think it's the patriarchy. I do think it's capitalism and class, and it's much more complex than just pointing at a white guy and saying, hey, that's his problem. Or rather, he's the one who did the problem. Because if we look at stats, we look at, I know this is my experience, but I've had so many female abusers and so many women about transphobia, and if you look at it, people do call out transphobic gay men. Well, I was just like looking at authors who were recently Jacqueline Wilson. Well, not as recently, I kind of missed it. Came out as someone who is in a relationship with another woman, and she led a lot of transphobic discussion coming to view. And it's kind of murky territory whether she is transphobic or if she understood her mistake. But we still have J.K. Rowling, who is pretty much a transphobic, batshit crazy lady. So we shouldn't give women special treatment for if a transphobe is a transphobe, they are a transphobe regardless of what gender they identify, sexuality, and Jesus Christ, political views. So, for instance, I was arguing, and the more I see it, I feel like people think that if you're a Democrat, you are automatically a trans ally. That's not the case. That is far from the case. So, even when you look back, I remember in the Hillary Clinton Trump election, trans people would point out Hillary's previous transphobia, but right now it's not even about Biden, but about Biden supporters. Like, there's people who use outdated terminology and literally just don't care. And right now there's a problem um, with celebrities who identify as non-binary and occupy women's spaces. And I'm not saying trans women occupy women's spaces. I am literally saying people who are assigned woman at birth occupying female spaces, just because they're just, it's the same old woman born woman rhetoric. It's like you did not experience the female experience. You're trans. You experience the trans experience. And if you're a trans guy, you experience what it was like to be discriminated against as a trans guy, or as a guy, or homophobia if you're gay. And people forget that. And there's a large debate about that. And I ended up really furious because this person was saying, well, they're lumping female musicians, assigned female at birth musicians into the female box, so obviously they won't speak about their issues. And I was like, well, they kind of need to speak from a non-binary platform, or, you know, from a trans platform, if they identify as such. And by the end of the day, the person was just like, everyone can be in the female safe space because they experience being a woman. And I was like, well, goodbye, turf. And that really kind of struck me. And I started thinking that I feel like I already talk more than I should, but it made me realize that I hold back a lot. And I didn't used to hold back. And so I left the discussion with that person, and I moved to another discussion, and it felt like night and day, really. So I wanted to say that there are a lot of threads on Reddit. There's a lot of articles or statistics that state that women are far more transphobic than men. And please don't forget that Mitchfest existed. Trans radical feminists are, well, mostly women. Yes, you have ignorant men, yes, of course, and you have turfy men. But everyone focuses on the guys. No one wants to raise a hand to say that women are problematic. And that's what bugs me. Why are we giving passage to trans folks just because they were, you know, they have the female experience, or this is literally a woman born woman, you know? And people tend to like focus on problems which literally aren't there. Like, I've been really following Poland's abortion, and I understand that Poland has a lot to grow, but okay, fine, you can call that abortion as a woman's issue, you know, and because Poland has a bunch to grow on. And that is an actual issue. It should be discussed instead of, oh, poor woman treated in the music industry. God forbid a millionaire has problems, you know? So I see them fighting neck and teeth for like, I don't even know what these days. I just feel like they're just gone off the rails and batshit crazy like JK. So instead of focusing on Poland and abortion, or I am very, very pro-abortion. And I do think it's a thing which should be addressed, and people just ignore it. There's also female circumcision. There's arranged marriages. There's a lot of problems which women face in different countries, but people focus on really small things instead of addressing, like, for instance, why don't you raise awareness about Poland if you care about women's issues? And I care more about trans issues, and that's the way the world goes. We all care about different issues, but when you think that you're a Democrat and then you spew transphobia, and you're like, I'm scared of Trump because he's transphobic, you're kind of going a bit backwards. You're doing the same what you are saying your opponent is doing. So I really wanted to shed light on this. Yeah, I really, really wish that we could just get out of this woman born woman us. And yeah, I hope all of you have a nice day, have a good think, and understand that even if you vote Democrat or if you vote Trump, um, it's all about the core values, right? And that is what people are really forgetting. So I could go further, but yeah. Anyway, good luck with the elections since everyone's watching.